Good afternoon. The lady with me, she is the daughter of former Chief Justice of India, P.N. Bhagwati. And yet, law was not her first choice. She did an MBA and then started selling soaps before she got married to a family of lawyers. And that's not very surprising because her mother, at the age of 90, she started a business of Gujarati snacks, I believe, in 2015. I still don't know whether that was inspired by the success of a Gujarati person just a year ago. Then she got married to a family of lawyers and she pursued legal studies only to spend some time with her husband so that they can go to work together. And today, she is one of the doyens of corporate litigation in India. Welcome, Pallavi Shroff, who, among all other things, apart from being a lawyer, she is also a trained Kathak dancer. So we'll get to know a lot of things about her today. But I'll start with this question. When you started your practice, as you had mentioned once earlier, judges would ask you, are you waiting for your seniors? Is anyone coming to help you? And from that time to now, do you think that women lawyers, when they come into the profession, they still face the same thing, the same issues, the same situation in courtrooms? Also, ma'am, I would also like you to recount that story where one corporate giant once almost threatened you and was about to hit you in court.
So, let's all step back into 1981. That was the time when I started my practice. I could count the number of women who actually came to court and argued work, about 4 or 5 of us. 2 of those women became judges, went on to become High Court judges and then retired. There were 3 other women who came to court and worked every single day in court, argued and did stuff. So it was a very difficult time at that point, completely male-dominated profession. So I started my practice in a rather difficult situation. I won't say hostile, but a difficult situation. In the office, I would have clients who would only want to meet a male colleague. My husband was the managing partner those days, and not meet a woman because the belief was, what can she advise me? To being in court, you had judges who told, the other side lawyers saying, oh, she's come with her books and she wants to argue. It was actually very upsetting to be sort of, looked down, spoken to in that sense. But I had 2 options in the profession. Either I sort of gave in to all of that, or I said, no, damn it, I'm going to do what I'm here to do, and that is prove myself. And as my previous colleague said, we keep proving ourselves. We work twice as hard to prove that we are half as good as our male colleagues. But that was what I had to do, and I kept arguing, kept going to court every single day and doing it. Being a mother, a wife, a daughter, daughter-in-law, these are different roles that all of us play, and we play them most naturally. But when you pit all of these roles with your profession, there are challenges, and we have to navigate these challenges every single day, which I also had to do. I had 2 very young daughters. One was born in 81, one is born in 84. So I had to leave them behind when they were unwell. Doctor would come, see them, call me at 4 o'clock to tell me what was wrong with them, and I would manage in between the court hours and all of that. So it was heart-wrenching for me at some points of time. What am I doing? Should I stop this? Should I not? So you go through this dilemma, but maybe I was too ambitious, I don't know, too aggressive, as my colleagues before have said. But I just plowed on. Amazing support from my husband. I think he treated me as an equal to him. And equality doesn't mean just being pampered or given everything on a platter. It actually means standing shoulder to shoulder, taking the responsibilities, taking the decisions, and being half that man. You know, while you are a woman, you don't have to give up your women trends or your femininity or your thinking or anything. But you have to be able to take the responsibilities and do it. Those were the days when women were a little shy of doing taking on those responsibilities of being in the forefront. So even as my career went on, and there were judges who not only at one end said, oh, she wants to argue, the other end they would say, I remember this was in the first week after I got my license to practice. I was in the court of Justice Leela Seth, a wonderful, wonderful judge. And I was doing my first examination and cross-examination as somebody who had been at the bar for 1 week. I was petrified. So I started and I asked a question to the witness, and my own witness I asked, which was more like a cross-examination. She realized I've made a mistake, but she turned around and told me, Mrs. Shroff, don't you think this is a leading question? I realized it was wrong. And in fact, by mistake in court, I said, oh shit. You know, you don't use this language in court. She smiled and I smiled and we moved on. You know, I changed the question and you do. But behind all of that went tremendous, tremendous hard work. It was like 24/7, you were on a roll. Because when you went home, I was the mother, I was the wife, and when I came to court, I was the professional. So switching one role to the other takes time. Even at the end of the day, when you go back after office, and a lot of you go to the office here, you go back to office, to switch your mindset is not very easy. You be aggressive in office. In court, you are like in an arena or in a battlefield. You're competing with, you are actually wanting to compete with your opponent. You're trying to say he's wrong and you are right. You know, act for your client, convince the judge. So you're battling in so many different ways, unpredictable arguments, unpredictable things. And then suddenly when you go to court, go home, you are the wife, you are the mummy, and mummy, this happened in school and that happened. So, you know, those switches are difficult, but I think over a period of few years, I learned how to do that. But if somebody told me that my life is very planned, I spend 5 hours with my children and 5 hours at work or 8 hours at work, I think it's all bullshit. Okay, we prioritize our day every day. What is important, what is not important. Child has a PTA, you have to go, you will go. And today's organizations are very much aware and attuned to all this, and they do not take an objection. Good old days, it was a problem. Not today anymore. So the transition from where I started to today has been tremendous. Two ways I look at it. On the litigation front, today I see so many young women lawyers, well prepared, arguing so well in court, logically and beautifully. Judges are receptive to them. They're not looked down upon, you know, or spoken down to. Fabulous. Then the other hand, on the corporate side, you see general counsel. The majority of general counsel are women. They're doing exceedingly well. And when you talk of the law firms and transactional side of the work, in my own firm, I can say I've had the biggest deals being done. Now, I'll give you an example. Sony Entertainment was acquiring Z. That was an all-women's team. It was an $11 billion deal. It was an all-women's team. We've done litigation with an all-women's team. Nobody thinks twice today whether you're a woman or not. But that has taken a good 40 years, that whole needle to change. Slowly, steadily, it has changed. I'll give you one of my own examples. When I joined the profession, I used to face clients who would come and say, no, we want to meet Mr. Shroff. We'll wait a couple of hours. Came a situation in 1989, 85 first, and then in 89, where, 91, in 91, where there was a matter in the Allahabad High Court. I had argued a part of it in the Supreme Court here. I'd handled the whole litigation before 7 judges. Matter listed in Allahabad. I couldn't travel. I just had a back surgery for slip disc, and I couldn't travel by train. And I said somebody else from the firm will come, and the client said, no, we will charter a flight and take you. So the client chartered a flight to take me to Allahabad for the matter and bring me back. Frankly, that day, in my own mind, I felt I had arrived. It was like a little jig, that somebody accepted me for who I am. I think that was a big milestone for me
and
personally.
also that day when you were about to be hit in a court
Sorry?
by that corporate guy, Mr. Modi.
Yeah, this was a matter that I was doing for a public sector undertaking, and it was in the company court in Delhi High Court, went there. This guy was taking public money to run his company, not putting in any money of his own, and then pleading bankruptcy. So I went to court and I argued how he was sort of, literally cheating the public. And he was so mad because an order got passed by the judge to say he should bring in some 50 crores into the company before he borrows a single rupee. He didn't want to put in his own money. He got so angry with me when I came out of the court. He literally came to me, held my coat, and said, how dare you do this to me? And I lost it at that point. And I said, yeah, come try and hit me. I'm walking into court. There's a lady judge sitting, and you will go straight to Tihar from here. And then people had to come and separate and push him away so that he doesn't get aggressive and hit me.
That we see in films only.
Yeah, but I couldn't believe this happened to me.
You have said we have come very far from where
Much
you started, but still if we look at Indian judiciary, we still have only one judge in the Supreme Court, lady judge, and we still have to wait, I believe, a couple of years to get India's first CGI, women CGI. So why do you think, you didn't switch to the other side, you stayed a lawyer. So why do you think we see so many lesser number of women judges in Indian courts?
I think when you look at the number of women judges in various high courts, that's where they're going to come from, essentially. Not as many women lawyers in the high courts as we would hope there would be. Delhi High Court has a very good number of women judges, and it's good. I mean, they bring different perspectives. Women always bring a different perspective to the same story. The same case, the same decision-making processes could be different because the way we think is different. And as my previous colleague said, there's empathy. Do men have empathy? Of course they have. But I think women, we have a little more. There's an understanding of a situation could be different. And a lot of these women, unfortunately, retire before they get the opportunity to move to the Supreme Court. In other courts, there are even fewer women. So I think we need to begin at the High Court level to see if we can persuade more women to come into the judiciary rather than just being on this side.
Also, do you think there is some problem in the selection process? I am not getting into whether its collegium system is perfect or not, whether executive should take it up. But overall, do you think there is a bias in hiring judges?
No, I think there are a number
elevating
of
them.
Partially, one would think, but not truly, because there is a certain number of criteria that you have to meet even before you become a High Court judge. If you're from the district, you would have written a number of judgments, you would have handled a couple of kind of matters. When you want to move up to the Supreme Court, how many judgments have you given? What is the quality of your judgments? How you've handled? What is your experience? As I said, since so many women judges retire before they reach the age where they can move up to the Supreme Court, I think they sort of fall off the way, as one would say, But for everybody to meet all the criteria may or may not be possible. Because ultimately, those who come up should come up on merit,
So, ma'am, as a veteran in litigation, especially in corporate litigation, arbitration, and competition law, what advice would you give to women lawyers, young women lawyers who are specializing in this field, especially in white collar crime? Because we see a lot of these days.
I think I'll begin with saying what any woman lawyer should expect when they join the legal profession. One, it's very, very interesting. No day is the same. Every case is different. It's challenging. You have to apply your mind to new challenges every day. And for those who like that excitement, it's just fantastic. A lot to do with society, lot to do with business. Depends on where your interest is. My interest is business law. So I think given that both sides there is so much to do, new aspects every day. No two cases are the same. Even if you're relying on a precedent, it is not the same. You have to apply your mind to it. So I think it's very challenging. But at the same time, you need grit, determination, and most of all, consistency. If you are practicing, you need to be in office every single day. If you are in court, you need to be in court every single day. You can't say, I'll go 2 days a week and I'll sit 3 days at home. No, part-time doesn't work. Law is not a part-time profession. So a lot of hard work. You will get the opportunities today. More and more women are getting the opportunities. I won't say it is difficult, but you have to be there. You know, if you're not there, difficult to get then don't complain, I didn't get the opportunity. There is one thing we also need to be aware of is, are there biases? Yes, unconscious biases exist. That exist in society. And they don't exist only among men, but even women. A man, like any firm, I would say, and I'll talk about the law, if there's a new case that has to be handled, and if I get one, would I think in my mind that a guy can do it better than a girl or a woman partner versus a male partner? A lot of times the thoughts cross even women. Will they trust another woman? Men may think that I'd rather give it to another man than give it to a woman. So these are unconscious biases. And at least I know we at our firm have trainings regularly every 6 months, which both men and women have to attend, just to be able to deal with unconscious biases. We don't want our younger people coming up and not getting the opportunity. When we talk of equality anywhere among women, I think the first thing is respect for women, treating them as equals in this true sense, and that equality comes when we give them the opportunity to do something and trust them to do it. A lot of women will complain, I have, as Mukta said, I'm all of these things, but why do I have to be called the chori? So to remove those biases, today there is conscious effort. And I think more and more organizations should work towards that. Respect the woman, trust her. Let her make a choice whether she can handle a piece of work or not. Why do I have to make a decision for the woman? If she can't do it because she has a child or someone to take care of at home, let her say no. Women know when to say no.
Ma'am, you have been part of various policy design in the country, legal policy design. So, from your experience, how have you helped or contributed in shaping those policies in a gender-sensitive way? If you can give some example.
I don't look at it from a gender-sensitive way at all. A policy, when you work with the government to help them develop a policy, it's what's good for the sector, what's good for the nation, how will it improve growth. These are the only 3 factors that I keep in mind. The reason why I work with the government on the policy front is basically it's my way of giving back to society from whom I've got so much in life, So I have to give back to society. Can't just keep taking something. So that's a way. I'm a lawyer. My way of giving back is through the law. But gender doesn't fit in there, frankly. It's neutral. What does the sector need and how do you go about doing it?
Time is up, but still I'll ask one last question. How do you define, as a woman, how do you define leadership?
Lead from the front. There is no other way. Whether you are a man or a woman, you have to lead from the front to be a true leader, a respected leader. 2 or 3 things I want to say. One, if you're really great and you're really good, you will lead from the front. It's not that I give work to somebody to do and I'm sitting at home or partying. I'm sitting in the trenches working with them, doing the late nights. That's the first thing. And people find it surprising, why are you still doing those late nights? Because that's the way it can, that's the only way it can work for me. Secondly, you cannot be arrogant or think you are in the cloud or something because you are a leader. I think compassion was mentioned in the earlier session. Compassion and humility are 2 great things. With humility, I feel you achieve far more and you command greater respect than with throwing your weight around. Screaming, shouting to get things done, if they are not done or not done adequately, doesn't help. It puts up everybody's back, but when you talk to them and do it quietly, I think it's far more effective than screaming and shouting at people. So that is the second thing. Third thing, understand the aspirations of your people. And if as a leader, you not only have to meet your aspirations, which you will over the time, but how are you going to bring them up? How are you going to, you are actually responsible for other people's careers and growth. How will you make that happen? So these are the 3 or 4 things which I think are qualities of a leader.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was such an insightful conversation. Thank you for being here.